Peace to the guys and earths. Rod tapping in once again on behalf of the Sacred Tree, Stardust Jewelry. I got a public service announcement that I have for the family. This is very important. This is some of the realest information that I feel like we need to digest in today's times. Check out this book. It's called The Sibyls, the first prophetess of Mami Wata. And as you can see, it's written from Mama Zagbe. She's the author of this wonderful book. I want to salute her and her contribution to the Soul Tribe. She did make her transition in 2022, and she was a powerful high priestess that brought this information to the family. Once again, it's talking about the Sibyls. I want us all to go get this book. You can get it from Amazon for less than $20. You know, their delivery is fast. I haven't even read the book yet, but I did get through the forward in the introduction because I already know that it's in alignment to what I already be telling y'all as far as the goddess of 10,000 names and how all of the religions that we follow today are foundational. Well, this is the foundation of those religions. And we need to know that. This is primarily for the so-called black woman, the indigenous women, the African women, primarily. And I'm going to tell you why. Because this exists, and it's not about skin color. It's about genetics. It's about your DNA. It's about codes that's in your DNA. And the reason why I say that is because you're the mothers of civilization. And you are the most disrespected on the planet right now. Meaning they've totally usurped your energy as far as who you truly were and who you truly are on this planet, your true identity. So this is no slight to any other women. I'm just saying primarily this is for African and indigenous women. And that covers the whole spectrum of all women. All women should big this up. And so especially the black man as well. Because we were primarily matriarchal people. Like there's no getting around that. We were from nature. That's why we call it Mother Nature. That was always our first religion as far as spiritual practices. And we can't get away from that. We've strayed, but we going back to that. So this is for all women and men, because men need to get in balance with both their divine masculine and their divine feminine. And that's the people that we were, and that's the people that we are as far as getting back to our true identity. So what I'm going to do is the reason why too is because, like I said, it's about your DNA. It's about unlocking certain codes that are in your mitochondria DNA. You understand? So when you think about what's plaguing the world, when we talk about the isms, we talk about racism, but what's older than racism? Sexism. Meaning that the black woman who's the mothers of our civilizations, they existed at a time before there was slavery, before there was certain indoctrinations and this usurped energy that we're dealing with now of a patriarchal, male-dominant, monotheistic religion. And that's covering all three: Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. And mind you, I'm well studying all of them. So this is not to even bang on those, but it is about putting things in its proper perspective. You know what I'm saying? So there was a time that we existed where there was peace and harmony. And these high priestesses, these great mothers, were the moral code or the superior seat as far as high priestess. And they're the ones who set the standard for morality and spirituality throughout the whole planet, throughout the whole ancient world. So their foundational principles and their scriptures is where they got their religions from. And what they would do as far as the patriarchy is they will bang, just like the witch hunts of Salem, the crusades, and all of those things that they call holy wars, right? That was them trying to erase her story. And these are facts. I tell people nowadays, it's okay to be spiritual. But right now what we're doing is we're bridging the gap between spirituality and science with alchemy and scholarship. So it ain't about always just meditation and hugging trees and crystals and kumbaya and trying to be in peace and love and harmony. That's part of it. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big part of it too. Not to belittle that aspect. But we have to get into scholarship so we can really start grounding this energy and letting people know that in order for us to get our true identity back, we were already primarily a spiritual people that were a matriarchal people, meaning we held our great mothers to a higher esteem than any other walk of life on the planet until the patriarchal monotheistic religions came on the scene and they totally did a number on her ancient scriptures. You understand? So like I said, primarily this is for my so-called black women, my indigenous women, my divine feminine, and my African women. And like I said, being that they're the mothers of our civilization, that will in turn heal all women. So this is the true feminist movement right here. You understand? Especially if you're indigenous to the land. And that's everywhere because we was everywhere first. And that's just facts. Anytime they digging anything up, you're going to find the darker the people get. They were melanated beings. And we just have to understand that and just respect it, salute it. You know what I'm saying? The quicker we get to that, the quicker we can start healing the world and putting it in its proper perspective. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a skin color thing. Because guess what? There's certain Europeans that have the you know how they say that one drop rule? They got black in them too. You know what I'm saying? Look at the southern region of the Mediterranean as far as Europe, Italy, Sicily. Whether they want to admit it or not, they got black in them. Especially where the Moors went into. When the Moors went into Spain, yeah, those the originators of those lands. You know what I'm saying? We was everywhere first. And these are just historical facts. Y'all gonna have to do the research to catch up with that. You know what I mean? But salute to this great mother, Mama Zogbe, for her contribution. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like this is a book that we all need to digest together. I'm not no teacher or a self-proclaimed guru that feels like I got to read 1,000 books. And because now I have this superior knowledge, you got to come to me to get the knowledge. I want women to go get this book. And we can read this together. We can exchange notes. You can DM, leave comments in the videos that I leave because this is going to be done in parts because I really want to unpack it in a nice and slow kind of way. You know what I'm saying? Because this is something that we've been robbed from her story. Not his story. This is her story. And this is very important, more now than ever, as far as the goddess of 10,000 names that I'll be telling you about. So let me just read a few excerpts from the foreword and the introduction, just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. The first thing I wanted to point out, it says, the great Sibyls, divine oracles of the ancestors and God. Webster's dictionary defines a Sibyl as a female prophet or a woman able to utter the oracles and prophecies of a god, or a woman who can foretell the future. Conversely, under the bitter Hebrew patriarchs, the Sibyls are condemned in their Bible as Belahath, old, meaning evil serpent spirit or mistress of the python. Now, anybody that knows ancient Kemet, they had what was called a uraeus on their crown, which was a serpent. Serpents in the ancient world always represented wisdom. So you have to understand, when they started relegating the serpent to something evil, obviously there's a usurp of energy going down. They're trying to make what was considered a divine symbol before their conquest. They're trying to make that thing that was a positive thing, an evil thing. Because in the ancient world, the serpent always represented enlightenment, wisdom, kundalini rising, all of those divine attributes. They want to relegate that to something evil. Like I said, you have to understand when conquest or when you're being colonized, how they indoctrinate you and colonize the mind as well. More so than just your body. Because that's what we're dealing with right now. We're dealing with a mental colonization. So we have to deprogram that clutter. You understand? So the next thing I wanted to point out, it says the Vatican, original sacerdotal seat of Sibyls. Africans, Black Buddhists, Umbrians, and Black Etruscans, etc., erected civilizations in what is now Italy thousands of years before the Anglo-Romans arrived. What is now called the seat of the Vatican in Italy was originally the sacerdotal seat of the ancient Black Sibyls. As the first established sacerdotal African matriarchs, the Sibyls' culture and religious impact was arguably the most profound on ancient civilization than modern history has ever revealed or cared to admit. From Mesopotamia to Libya, Kemet, Ionia, Minoa, Turkey, and Greece, and later Rome, the Sibyls were the primary divine Vatican and absolute moral authority. So these are the high priestess, the great mothers that laid down the foundational principles for the religions you follow today. And now when you think of the patriarch, as far as how they usurped the religion and what they used it for, they used it for conquest and for political prowess. Whereas us as spiritual people, we had a natural order of things. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say primarily I want our women to digest this book, because y'all mitochondrial DNA existed at a time before we was in bondage. You understand? There was a time that we had peace, we had harmony when y'all was on your rightful when y'all was on your rightful throne. You understand? And once that got usurped, everything went off balance. That's why they have these holy wars still to this day. You see what's going on in the Middle East right now. The reason why these patriarchal religions, all you have to do is look at the culture and how they treat their women. It's imbalanced. It's uncivilized. You see what I'm saying? And they're going to forever be at war because there's no balance of the matriarch. The feminine principle balances that aggression. It balances that shit out. You see what I'm saying? Especially when you reduce the divine feminine to some kind of second-class citizen. You know what I'm saying? Where the man is just always the end-all be-all. You see what I'm saying? So let me dig a little bit more. And this is just the introduction, man. This shit is about to get deep. I already know. Like I said, I back my spirituality up with scholarship and alchemy. It's about grounding this energy. I don't play no games when it comes to my soul and where we going with this. And I think y'all need to take it more serious too. Don't ever let your colonizer educate you or your children. Period. You got to understand the people that enslaved your people and made them prisoners of war, because that's what they really were. They pretty much usurped your spirituality because they knew we were a spiritual people. And the only way that they can conquer us is by conquering our God. That's what they attacked. We had temples all throughout the world. You got to know that. And these weren't just places of worship that we went to just to have a preacher get up and, you know, say scriptures and just tell you things from a book. These were learning centers. This is where you learn high science like alchemy, astronomy, astrology, philosophy. The temples were a hub of all of your education. You know what I'm saying? And it was a privilege to be able to take part of those spiritual practices, especially under the tutelage of these high priestess of Mami Wata. You understand? So, and the men were a part of it too. You understand? There were priests dedicated to these high priests, to these goddesses as well. Because we have to understand what they considered to be goddesses. These was actually flesh, blood, and bone women walking the earth that were that miraculous that when they passed away, they got raised up to goddesshood. They became goddesses. That's why I say this is about a bloodline. It's more than just the color of your skin. We got to get out of that. It's about bloodlines and what's your inheritance that's in your DNA through your mitochondrial DNA. You understand? Because if you notice, through the patriarchal lineages, they make everything about the sons of Jacob and, you know, the lineages of Abraham and all of this type of stuff. But what about the mother? It was only through the mother's lineages that you were allowed to become a pharaoh. These are facts. This is how you know that the spiritual aspect came for the matriarchal line. So it's like they've made it to where all we want to follow is the patriarchal line now, as far as genetics and the DNA as it passes down. We have to honor both sides. You understand? It has to be a balance. You can't just omit her story out of this thing. And that's what we've been doing as a people. You understand? So, like I said, it is my duty, and as men, it is our duty to put our queens back on their rightful throne. So this is a book that I feel like we all need to absorb as melanated people. You know what I'm saying? It's very important. Like I said, if you calling yourself a feminist, then you need to have this book on your shelf. Because especially if you're a melanated, indigenous, or African woman, that's where you start. Because we were always a spiritual people first. First and foremost, we never took spirituality out of everything we did. That was always a part of it. And they try to make it like we were savage and pagan and whatever the fuck the colonizer came and put on us and labeled us as. We need to start self-defining and defining ourselves for ourselves and really doing the research and bigging it up. And to me, this is profound information right here. You know what I'm saying? This is like, just like I did Pistis Sophia, this is highly important to have on your shelf. My black women and men. Because like I said, I'm King Ra, but when my queen is in the room, I'm a general. You understand? I'm her first general. That's how we move, and that's how we've always moved. You know what I'm saying? If I'm sitting on my throne and my queen comes in the room, I get up and let her sit on my throne, and I stand next to her. That's how this thing works, and that's how it's always been. You feel me? And we've somehow started taking on this Eurocentric mind frame that's not us. We have to start taking back our true identity. Let me read another piece of the puzzle. We're going to unpack this thing together, yo. Before there was Jehovah, a minor volcano fire thunder deity elevated as God under Afrin Jewish patriarchy, there was a Mami, Isis, as the preeminent dual goddess and god who dominated the entire ancient world for more than 6,000 years. Nearly all of Africa was matriarchal. The dominant presence of African matriarchy resulted not as a consequence of political, feminist, or military usurpation, but rather because it was the original and, more importantly, the natural divine order of the African civilized world. Its cosmology, philosophy, theology, ritual practices, and rich African culture emphasize the complementary relationship between what has come to be known as the masculine and feminine divine as it exists in both nature and within the universe. So even when she was on top of her throne, it's the woman's nature to let the man lead with all the power that she knows she has. She's okay with letting you lead, but you got to give her respect, though. That's why they always say behind every great man is what? An even greater woman, or a powerful woman. You understand? Behind every great man is a great woman. Not because he's more powerful, but because she wants him to lead. We have this thing on the internet now where men want women to submit. They want them to submit. You know what I'm saying? Submission is key. You know what I'm saying? That for a happy relationship, whereas that should go both ways. Like, we need to get off of this. Oh, I need my woman to submit. Your woman will submit to you when you submit to her. We both have attributes that are complementary to each other. You're strong on the outside, on the exterior. Men are strong on the exterior. Women are more strong on the interior. That's why they're the ones that can carry that baby for 9 months. Check. That's Bobby Hemming, man. It just came out like that. When you get a flow going, you know what I'm saying? But that's the truth, though. That's how shit go, man. So we got to stop pinning each other one against the other. You know what I mean? Men, we know we stronger physically. You know, we got muscles and we can lift heavy weights and all that good shit. But women emotionally are stronger than us. Let's keep it a buck. That's why they can carry that baby and birth beautiful children. You understand? Y'all niggas can't do that shit. And I'm sure y'all don't even want to. So it's just like, we have to understand that, like I said about polarities, we're different, we're opposite, but we're on the same coin. So we need to quit thinking that she needs to submit and that's what makes her feminine and all that type of stuff, without you being able to submit to her as well. We both got to submit. We both need to surrender to this process, because the Most High made us to complement each other. Period. You know what I'm saying? You can't be divine if you don't have a divine counterpart to bounce that energy off of. You know what I'm saying? You can be divine as a single. I ain't saying that you can't be single and not be divine. But you do have to have a unity between the divine feminine aspect and the divine masculine aspect within yourself. Because we all are made from what? Our father and our mother. There you go. You see what I'm saying? And we have to understand that being that we're made of both, we have to give credence and respect to both. So I just read a few excerpts from this book just to show you where we come from, who we are. This is for all women. Get that book. Primarily indigenous, melanated African women. I need you to get that book for our spiritual alchemy as a people, as melanated people. Like I said, being that we are the originals and the fathers and mothers of civilization, this is how we get back into our true identity. We were always a spiritual people, first and foremost. We can talk about political, social, economics and all of that stuff at the same time. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. You know what I'm saying? But we need to understand that we start with spirituality first. We were always in tune with nature. And you can look at the Native American tribes, to the Aboriginals in Australia, to the Africans. Like, they all have a common denominator. They're all very in tune with nature, the animals, their ecosystem. And most of them understood that the mother was held in high regard. You understand? And just because we're in this modern age, that don't make it who we are. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, don't let your colonizer colonize your mind to a point where you think like how they think. That's the whole point. It's time for us to start being people that define our souls for ourselves. We define our own self, and we need to understand her story, not his story, because we already know his story. And guess what? A lot of his story is lies. They lie a lot in history. Look me in my eyes and tell me that I'm lying. Like, real shit. You know they lie a lot in history, bro. They whitewash a lot. They still trying to do that shit now over there in Egypt. Black people know that those is our ancestors. We know that. You know what I'm saying? But they be trying to make that shit seem like the Egyptians was Arabs. You see what I'm saying? Like, we gotta knock that shit off, man. Like, in order for anything to get put like in its proper perspective back on this planet, we gotta start telling the truth and standing on it, man. Like, real shit. It's about speaking the truth, standing on the truth, and really putting the Queen Mother, the goddess of 10,000 names, back on her throne. And I'm all for that. Tupac had a tattoo of Nefertiti on his chest that said, "To die for." See, y'all niggas be getting into the whole Pac thing of the thug image. I understood Pac in a different way. I understood the revolutionary Pac. I understood that. You know what I'm saying? And what he was trying to say was, before we gonna die for our chain, before that set, before we die for our hood, before we die for some cars, like all this material bullshit, we need to be dying and living for our mothers, our wives, our sisters, and our daughters. To me, that's honorable. Like, that's how you go out and you will have your name honored in the history, or in her story, in the books. You know what I'm saying? And it's written in the stars, man. We got to start getting right with this shit, yo. So, like I said, it's going to be a lot to unpack. This is just an introduction, because it's really time to get acquainted with the great mother. I gave y'all a little piece when I was telling you about the Pistis Sophia. But when you hear about stories of Nanny of the Maroons, when you hear about Cecile Fatiman, when you hear about Queen Khalifa, when you hear about Harriet Tubman, these were great women that are of this lineage. That's why they had a knack. They had a instinctual thing that guided them through. That these were spiritual high priestesses, man. And they knew how to lead men. Those are powerful women, man. That's why I'm just like, we got to understand that that's what we cut from. You know what I mean? So it's like, as men, when the Queen Mother is in our presence, I'm a general now. You feel me? Amongst men, I'm King Ra. I always been King Ra since I was a teenager. I always been King Ra. But when the queen is in the room, I'm a general. Period. That's how this shit go. That's the pecking order. Think about it. Let somebody smack your mama right now. What you gonna do? You feel me? Like, that's the divine connection between the mother and the son, and the father and the daughter. See, we be getting this thing mixed up. Y'all busy worshiping the father and the son. But think about the love between the mother and the son, and then think about the love between the father and the daughter. Not saying if you a man and you have a son that you love your daughter more than your son, or none of that type of shit. But it's a different kind of love, ain't it? You treat your daughter as a man. You treat your daughter like, boy, you can't even look at my daughter twice. For your son, you raising him to be a man. So it's a different kind of love. You feel what I'm saying? So we have to start looking at the nature of things and how they really work. And that's where this matriarchy used to teach us. She used to teach us how to balance our manhood with femininity. You know what I mean? When we all aggressive and ready to fuck some shit up, it be your woman that can be the only beauty that can tame the beast. Tell me I'm lying. So we have to understand that alchemy. All right, now, I love y'all. I just wanted to give y'all that PSA. Like I said, jump into the comments. Tell me you got the book. Once you get it, let me know in the comments. You can DM me. Let me know that you about that life for real and you're a truth seeker. You know what I'm saying? You really want to see what's really going on with her side of the story. You feel me? Because that's what this is about. When you're a true spiritual alchemist, that's what we're here to do. We're here to redefine the lies that we've been taught and transmute that energy and turn it back to truth. This is Revelations right here. Salute, Mama Zagbe. Like I said, we truly appreciate your contribution here at the Sacred Tree. And we're going to keep this thing going. Love eternal. Peace.